Hey everyone, welcome back to FT News. I'm Myra. The third episode of The Westies raises the stakes in a big way with brutal violence, dangerous alliances, and heartbreaking betrayals. By the end of the episode, one major character is dead. Mickey narrowly escapes execution, and Jimmy makes a risky decision that could create even bigger problems in the future. Let us break down everything that happened and explain what the ending really means. The episode begins with Mickey trapped in the hands of John Gotti. Gotti and his men believe Mickey knows the truth and they are determined to make him talk. They beat him mercilessly, smashing a bottle over his head and repeatedly attacking him with a baseball bat. Despite the torture, Mickey refuses to give them anything. Instead of begging for mercy, he laughs at them, showing incredible courage even while suffering through the brutal interrogation. Although Gotti believes Mickey will eventually break, he also realizes it will take time. Mickey's refusal to confess becomes one of the biggest reasons why the story moves in a completely different direction. At the same time, Jimmy and the rest of the gang are trying to figure out how everything went so wrong. They blame several decisions, including Mickey giving Aaron the bracelet, but they also know the real cause of their problems started when Jimmy killed Vincent Zaccaro. That murder triggered a chain of events that continues to spiral further out of control. Eamon quickly realizes that leaving Mickey in Gotti's hands is extremely dangerous. Even if Mickey has remained silent so far, there is always the possibility that continued torture could force him to reveal secrets that would destroy everyone involved. Because of that, Jimmy decides they need to rescue Mickey before it is too late. Instead of launching a direct attack, Eamon chooses a much smarter approach. He arranges a meeting with Big Paul Castellano, hoping to convince the powerful mafia boss that Gotti has captured the wrong person. Eamon also reminds Castellano about the important Javits Center project, giving him another reason to avoid unnecessary conflict. His goal is simple. If Mickey is released, then the truth stays buried and everyone benefits. However, convincing Castellano is not easy, especially because another serious problem has appeared. A murdered police officer has been discovered beside the highway, and Detective Polk immediately suspects that someone is trying to cover up a much larger conspiracy. The driver's license left at the crime scene only makes the situation even more suspicious and increases pressure on everyone connected to the case. When Eamon finally meets Castellano, he discovers that nothing comes without a price. Castellano agrees to consider freeing Mickey, but only if Eamon completes a dangerous mission first. That mission centers around a nightclub called the Starship, located in Jackson Heights. While the club appears to be an ordinary disco on the surface, it secretly serves as a base for a Colombian drug distribution operation. Even more concerning, one of Castellano's own captains has been secretly dealing drugs against direct orders. Castellano wants the entire Colombian operation eliminated once and for all. Jimmy and the gang head to the Starship to gather information before launching their attack. Jimmy pretends to have connections with Vincent Zaccaro, allowing him to gain access to the basement where the drug operation is being run. This gives him the opportunity to study the layout and prepare for what will become an extremely dangerous assault. Meanwhile, Pat accidentally starts a fight inside the club, forcing the group to leave earlier than planned. Although this creates a setback, Jimmy now knows enough about the building to carry out the mission. Elsewhere, Gotti meets Castellano and receives a harsh warning. Castellano makes it clear that organized crime should stay away from narcotics because drug trafficking attracts unwanted attention from law enforcement. Gotti may listen to the lecture, but it becomes obvious that he has little interest in following every order. His reckless personality continues to create tension within the mafia leadership. Another important storyline follows Glenn, whose situation becomes increasingly desperate. Detective Polk's investigation into the murdered police officer places Glenn under enormous pressure because his connection to Eamon could easily make him an accessory to murder. Fear begins taking control of his decisions. Desperate for answers, Glenn visits his estranged son Danny and violently questions him, hoping to discover who killed the officer. Eventually, he learns that Pat was responsible. Armed with this information, Glenn confronts Eamon and offers a deal. Glenn promises to deal with Pat himself, but only if Danny is allowed to leave the criminal world behind forever. Eamon eventually accepts because protecting Danny is a small price to pay compared to the growing danger surrounding Pat. Back at the Starship, Jimmy prepares for what could easily become a suicide mission. The Colombian gang is heavily armed, making any attack extremely risky. Bridget then comes up with a clever plan that increases their chances of survival. Since she has been investigating Brandon's activities in New York, she realizes his weapons can now be used against the Colombians whose firepower has been moved away from the nightclub. With their plan finally ready, Jimmy and his crew launch the assault. Surprisingly, the operation succeeds much more smoothly than expected. They eliminate the Colombian organization and complete the mission that Castellano demanded. However, Jimmy makes one decision that could have serious consequences later. Before leaving the building, he secretly steals a large supply of cocaine, intending to sell it himself. While this may seem like an easy opportunity to make money, it directly goes against Castellano's strict position on narcotics. If anyone discovers what Jimmy has done, it could create another deadly conflict in the episodes ahead. Because Eamon successfully completes his agreement, Castellano keeps his word. Mickey is released alive, ending the immediate threat against him. Gotti is clearly frustrated because he wanted to continue questioning Mickey, but he has no choice except to obey Castellano's decision. The episode saves its darkest moment for the very end. Glenn follows through on his promise and confronts Pat. Instead of giving him a chance to escape, Glenn kills him without hesitation, bringing Pat's story to a sudden and brutal conclusion. The ending changes the direction of the series in several important ways. Mickey survives and remains loyal despite everything he endured. Jimmy has secretly entered the drug business by stealing cocaine, creating a dangerous secret that could eventually put him directly against powerful mafia leaders. Pat's death removes one loose end, but Detective Polk's investigation is still active, meaning the truth behind the murdered police officer has not disappeared. Overall, the third episode delivers intense action, emotional character moments, and several major developments that raise the stakes for everyone involved. With new secrets hidden beneath the surface and powerful enemies closing in, the stage is now set for an even more explosive chapter in the story. Thank you for watching this video. Sending you lots of love, and I'll see you in the next one.